Hey Cloud Cadets, it's Roger, it's King Nimbus, and I know I'm a day late, but here's another comic review. Specifically, this is the comic reviews for, I'm reaching behind to see what week it was, 5/20, so May the 20th specifically. In case you are new here, in case you do not know, I review all these comics I read off of a 1 to 5 Cloud scale, 5 being the best, 1 just being okay. I have my reviews on my computer screen behind y'all, so I will be reading over y'all's shoulders. So let's get into this. This was a huge week from the comics. I have way too many comics to get through. But first one was Young Hellboy Thrilling Sky Adventures 1. So this was kind of a fun, there's been a lot of Hellboy comics this year and I've been really happy about it, honestly. This was a really fun spin-off of the Hellboy universe. It takes place when he's like a little kid and he's reading a comic book, and the lady on the cover, this lovely lady right here, she's the main character of the story, kind of. It acts as like a good little framing device. So like I said, I love the device for this, the framing device for this miniseries, and I hope to see more of like Hellboy's personality when he's a kid. I think it's really cool. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 clouds. I just kind of actually wanted more Hellboy, if I'm being honest with y'all. I think the whole premise is cool. I want a little more Hellboy. So 3.5 out of 5. Next up, we got the GOAT Zorro 1. I only gave this a 3 out of 5 clouds. I didn't love it too much. This was some fun Zorro introduction, but I felt there needed to be a lot more action. Maybe I'm spoiled, but I wanted less jumping around and for there to be more of a focus on certain longer segments, if I'm being honest. There is a lot of interconnected stories though, so I'm very curious to see how those play out. I just kind of wish we got more like solid foundation, honestly. So yeah, 3 out of 5 clouds for Zorro. Next up is Titans 38, New Titans 35. Sorry, I'm thinking about the one that has Static Shock. I'm gonna pre-order that. But I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 clouds. My lovely people, I really like this issue. I thought this was super fun dive into the New Titans crew. I loved how they were described and their interactions were fun. Specifically, one character described like why he chose them to be a part of the New Titans, and I thought it was a really good way to summarize like their strengths, along with like maybe why you haven't heard of them, or like maybe like, okay, yeah, I see why they're an asset to the team. Even if a word or two seemed a little dated for like some of their jokes, I still thought the overall tone fit pretty well for all the characters, especially because they are a lot younger. They are technically like a lot closer to being teenagers, at least like 20-year-olds, compared to like the current Titans who are more in their 30s and like late 20s. Now, I'm just really hyped to see what happens next. Plus, the story that Victor is in this issue was just so beautiful. It was really, it was just something to behold. I really love Cyborg. I need to find more Cyborg stuff. But like this story alone was just really a cool look into Cyborg as a character himself. So, 4.5 out of 5 for New Titans 35. Next up, we got Lobo Issue 3. Now, this issue had an okay setup, framing device with like a psyche valve, but the coolest part of this whole story was Little Lobo. I really loved the whole Little Lobo story. The art style was really fun, and seeing Kid Lobo cause mayhem was just really refreshing. It was really fun. So I kind of, even though it like kind of deviated from the main Lobo and maybe like wasn't a perfect, I don't know if we've seen a lot of young Lobo in any of his previous iterations. I need to read some of those. But it was fun. I liked it. So 4 out of 5 for Mr. Lobo, 4 clouds out of 5. And next up, we got Absolute Green Arrow Issue 1. This was so cool. I gave this a 5 out of 5 clouds. I was already excited for this series, but oh my soul, this kicked so much ass. I loved the style, the art, the characters. The change in art depending on the moment was really cool. The action, the vibe, they were all killer. It was an absolute ride. I recommend. I highly recommend. It is violent for sure. It's a bit more, I think, violent and or gorier compared to like the rest of some of the other absolutes, but for sure, if you're a bit more mature, it's awesome. Next up, I got Ultimate Impact Reborn Issue 1. I got this cool Miles Morales variant. Overall, I gave this a 3 out of 5 clowns. Well, I had no idea what this comic was actually about. I really enjoyed the art, the story was fast, and it kept me interested. As the main villain I was a little indifferent to them so far, but if I keep reading, I hope we get kind of more in-depth characterization. Maybe like I can actually come to like the character more. Just kind of, and there was enough for me to sink my teeth in. So yeah, 3 out of 5. Next up, we got The Amazing Spider-Man issue 29. I'm realizing I got issue 31 recently and not 30. I need to go find 30, shit. But I gave this a 4 out of 5 clouds. I have not really been reading this current run. This was my first proper reading into this current Amazing Spider-Man run, and I really actually enjoyed it. I thought the art was fun. Peter being quipful was very refreshing. He was like not overly doing. I felt it was very well tempered. And seeing the wild setup for like the next issue, I am super hyped. So now I need to actually find it. So 4 out of 5 clouds for Amazing Spider-Man 29. Look at this romantic rendezvous. And next up, another Marvel, we got Rogue issue 5. This has been kind of like getting better and better, I think, thankfully. This was a great continuation from the last issue. I really loved the theme regarding forgiveness and the reality that may come with it, especially with like what Rogue's been going through in this current line. I'm going to have to see what may happen next because I'm a little unsure of like really what's left for this current storyline. If it's a complete like drop in momentum, I may just drop the series because like it's been fun, but I think we kind of got like the major continuation unless they find a way to bring it back and maybe have a change to that theme. I'm a little unsure though, so solid 4 out of 5 clouds for Rogue issue 5. Next up is Moonstar issue 3. Look at how cool she is. This was a great issue. I really liked this issue. I think it kind of really kicked off like my enjoyment for this character because I'd never really heard of her prior to like seeing her issue on one comic wall one day, so I figured why not. It brought another major obstacle for Danny, and the entire sequence of this comic was just awesome. There's like a really cool fight essentially that's a mix of a psychic fight, and there's a really cool panel in it. So I'm loving Moonstar even more. I'm even more hyped that the new issue just came out this week, so I'm gonna be getting to that. So I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 clouds for Moonstar issue 3. Next up is actually the free comic from Scumpit Comics for, if I'm right, it was for June, or maybe it was for May. It's probably for May. This was from last month. But speaking of Scumpit, they actually have a Cultus event tonight at Scumpit off of Wantabo. They are releasing their first comic book. Mikey specifically is the owner of Scumpit and like the main kind of head of Cultus line toys. So they're doing comic book and they're having like their own little event. So I'll be actually going to that later tonight. So I highly recommend if you are in the ABQ area, you check it out too. It's pretty cool. Now, I Hate Fairyland issue 50. As I had never read this series before, I didn't actually know what to expect with this comic. It was fun little sample into the dirty and obscene humor of the series though. I'm a little tempted to actually check out issue 1. It was kind of a fun grab bag of like genres with these characters that I imagine the fans of the series love very well. But it was definitely a good like introduction of like what kind of humor is in this what kind of humor is in this comic and like what art style is typical for it. So I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Like I said, I don't know if it's really my taste, but I'm a little tempted to actually check it out and see if it is. So 2.5 out of 5 for I Hate Fairyland issue 50. And the other one was the other free comic. It was Warbird issue 0. I liked this one a lot. I really liked the texture of it. I don't know what it was. The material was really fun to touch. The art was really fun. The dialogue and the action matched as well. So I'm actually excited for issue 1, which is coming out in January. So thank you again, Scumpit, for these really cool comics. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 clouds. Like I said, it was a really fun time. It reminded me of like James Bond without like being so posh and fancy, but also like, you know, just a fun time. And last up is Judge Dredd, Mega City State of Mind. So while I thought this would have more Judge Dredd, it only had one story. However, it did have a few other comics and even an article about some really cool comic history. Excuse me. Overall, it was a fun time. I just couldn't get through last quarter. I've been having some stuff going on, if I'm being honest, and the style of the article, the writing style wasn't exactly to my preference completely. So the info was really cool though. So I'm giving this a 3 out of 5 clouds, but putting a little asterisk next to it. But that was the super long comic review. I think this is gonna be the longest one, honestly, for the week. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't smiled already, if my video didn't make you smile, I hope you do something that makes you smile later today. I'm gonna go see Supergirl, and I'm gonna go to Scumpit and go check out that Cultus event. So have a good time, y'all. Be safe. Later. Bye.